Hi there, it's Linda here. Thanks for joining me today as I play with these goodies for the Scrapbook Boutique April Challenge. It's a monochrome challenge, so I'm going to use these gorgeous green distress inks for my card today. So, starting off just with some double-sided tape, and I'm adhering my Bristol smooth cardstock cut to the same size as my card front. I'm adhering that in place on my Tim Holtz craft mat, which I'll be using for my ink blending. So just getting the leafy pattern stencil from Mudra stuck down over the top, and then I can start my blending. And the first colour I'm using is Lucky Clover Distress Ink. Now, the Bristol Smooth cardstock is so beautiful to ink blend on. It really just goes on like a charm. So smooth, so easy, no blotchy, splotchy, streaky bits. So I really can recommend it for ink blending if you haven't tried it yet. So I'm trying to get a darker colour of the Lucky Clover at the bottom, going to a bit lighter at the top, before I then blend what I thought would be the next lightest colour, Evergreen Bough. Now, as I add the Evergreen Bough, I do work out or realise that it's actually darker than the Lucky Clover. So I probably would have been better doing the Evergreen Bough first, then graduating into the Lucky Clover, and then finishing off with the Cracked Pistachio. But anyway, I keep going and I come back and do something later which tends to make it more of a monochromatic colour scheme. So finishing off with the Cracked Pistachio, which is of course a nice gentle colour, a lot softer at the top, and I try to add it darker at the base of the colour where it's joining with the colour before, trying to just dot on, as you can see there, padding on more and more, and then blending it out to a softer colour at the top. So as I finish off with my Cracked Pistachio, and I remove the stencil, I do find my Cracked Pistachio is quite a juicy ink pad, so I have got a few little inky blotches that have seeped under the stencil there, so I'm just going to pick them up with a tissue, and it does take away some of the other colour, but it seems to be okay. Turn it over, just roll up my double-sided tape, very easy just to get rid of that, and then looking at it I decide no, I do need to adjust those colours. It should be darker at the bottom, so now I've turned it up the other way, and the darkest colour should be at the top there, moving into middle and then lighter. So I'm going back over the Lucky Clover with Evergreen Bough just to darken that up there. Back and forth, back and forth. I've sped it up quite a bit, and I hope you don't mind, but it does take quite a while if it's normal time. Then I'm just dragging out some of that Evergreen Bough in the centre there, and looking at it I decide nope, to get it even darker again I'm going to have to add one of my blues to this at the top here. So I've grabbed Chipped Sapphire and I start adding that over the top of the Evergreen Bough section at the top of my card, and just dragging down that colour most intense along the edge, and then dragging it down to blend with the green beneath it. And I'm quite happy with the effect I do get adding the Chipped Sapphire. It certainly does darken things up at the top of the card there, which is what I was looking for. Then through the middle portion of the card I'm just going to grab a little bit more of the Lucky Clover, because that's now the medium or moderate medium colour that I want through the middle, and I'm just dabbing on or swiping on onto the sections of the stencil there a little bit more of that Lucky Clover, just to get more of that tone throughout the middle there before it then peters out to the Cracked Pistachio. Alright, removing my painter's tape, seeing what the end result is, and yes, much happier with that for the monochromatic theme. So I'm using this Lawn Fawn scalloped stitched rectangle die, and I'm just adding a little detail. I've cut it from some glittery green paper there, and I'm going to lay that same colour underneath this die cut word here. And of course this is one of the MFT Words for Friends dies. So once I remove with my pokey tool, and I do apologise for being off screen, once I remove the word smile, I'll be able to adhere a little sparkly scallop at the bottom, some more sparkly underneath the smile, and that will tie everything together nicely. So I do decide that I'll just need to mark with pencil where smile actually is going to sit on my card front, so that I can just cut a nice little piece. It's a little bit bigger than that section, so that's what I'm doing here. Cutting that to size, and my tape runner's out. Should have just grabbed another one from the cupboard, but I actually didn't realise that I had one. So I'm just using my double-sided tape instead, and then I can adhere that in place. And then I'm going to grab some green craft foam, because I do want the stenciled portion to be sitting up above this glittery section. So I add my little glittery pieces, adhere them into place, and then I'm going to grab the craft foam, and you'll see me measuring that up and getting it organised to go behind my card front.